At least this one wasn't the Christian Bale, where are all the drugs?
1, 2, 3, 4!
Robert Pattinson officially went from a vampire to a bat. And he finally did it. Good for him. Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. Teach Film Preach, and if you're a Batman lover like I am, if you're a film lover like I am, and you learn from films as much as I do, then you are in the right place. Click like down below and subscribe to my channel for more content, and let me know, what did you guys think of Matt Reeves, the Batman? What did you guys think of this 3-hour long epic? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below, and while you're down there, click like and subscribe for more content. I just love all things Batman. I've been excited, I've been anticipating this film. Detective noir, action film, The Batman. The Batman is written, produced, and directed by Matt Reeves. It stars Robert Pattinson as the Cape and Cowl and Bruce Wayne. Also stars Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Andy Serkis as Alfred, an unrecognizable Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Jeffrey Wright as Detective Gordon, and it takes place in Gotham City in year 2 of Batman, so a very young Bruce Wayne, when he starts to get these cryptic hidden messages from the serial killer known as the Riddler, who is leaving clues and messages directly to the Batman as he commits these heinous murders for all these high-powered elite Gotham people, politicians, cops, and Batman is on the case to try and figure out and unravel what the Riddler is trying to accomplish.
It's not just a call. It's a warning. I've been trying to reach you. For the God!
This is a detective noir film at its core. The Maltese Falcon, mixing it with like Chinatown, and also things like Seven and serial killer films of the 90s, and mixing it into this comic book genre, blending it with a real world gothic, sort of emo, dark, gritty, depressing point of view, and he blends it all together to create this fantastic, epic, sweeping, beautiful, dark noir detective film that I thought was right on the money. Matt Reeves has always brought his best to every single project that he does, whether that's from Let Me In to Cloverfield to the Apes franchise. I mean, I really thought it couldn't get more dumb and ridiculous with apes on horseback with guns, but yet somehow he was able to explore it in a very dark and meaningful and powerful way. So when it was announced that he was taking over the Batman franchise, I was quite excited. I knew that they had a great filmmaker on hand. He was going to do an awesome job. At least he was going to make something different and unique and an interesting view on Batman, and that's exactly what he did with this film. And I know a lot of people were like, what? The vampire dude from Twilight?
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
Okay, we have to stop judging Robert Pattinson on Twilight, please. If you've seen any of his films in the last 6, 7, 8 years, you know he's right for this role. You know he can do Bruce Wayne and Batman. As a Batman character, I think Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. I mean, he impressed me. He's always impressed me in the roles that he's done since Harry Potter. He just constantly pushes himself, and I like that as an actor, that he doesn't pigeonhole himself in certain roles, that he tries different things out, and I think this may be one of his best and most successful roles. Let's talk about the real star of this movie, though. It might be Selina Kyle, Catwoman, who's played by Zoe Kravitz in near perfection. I mean, she is incredible in this film, and you actually get a character story arc with her character, who I've always wanted to explore more. She makes a great foil to the Batman character himself, and I thought the Bat and the Cat, the dynamic between them was fantastic. The chemistry between Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson was palpable, to say the least.
Okay.
Such a great friendship, relationship, flirtatious stalker, helping each other but stopping each other at the same time, and just this really intricate, complicated relationship between the two that I thought was really interesting.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
Then there's Paul Dano, my dude Paul Dano, who I loved. I mean, if you go and watch Prisoners, you can see where he could easily play the part of the Riddler. He was so creepy, menacing, over the top, but still in a very good, terrifying, horrifying way, but also still being in a comic book film, but super grounded. I thought Paul Dano was fantastic in this role. The unrecognizable transformation of Colin Farrell as the Penguin. If you would have said Colin Farrell was playing the Penguin 4 or 5 years ago, I thought you would have been out of your damn mind.
Oh, take it easy, sweetheart.
But then I have to stop and think about movies like Pride and Glory, Miami Vice, where he does all of these really interesting American accent work and changes his voice. Like, he actually is a phenomenal actor. Exceeded my expectations. So bravo on the performances. The cinematography in this film was sublime in a really gritty and dark way. There were times where in the movie theater I was kind of squinting a bit, being like, it's kind of hard to see, but that was sort of the point. They wanted to make this car chase scene, like a 1970s action gritty film like The French Connection or Bullet. The camera was strapped to the cars and there was rain falling. It was dark at night and you couldn't see sometimes, but I actually ended up really loving it. Chase sequence with the car, Batman running through the police station, all of that was just some awesome filmmaking. Detective films from the 30s and 40s, but also with like action, thriller, serial killer psycho films from like the 90s, and not just grounded, but like bolted into the grounded. The action when it did happen was awesome and really visceral, and it packed a punch, no pun intended. Maybe a little. It is a detective story, which makes sense because Batman, being the greatest detective of all time, is supposed to be sleuthing and investigating and stalking and looking through binoculars and making notes and talking into his journal. And this is what this film does so well. We've never had a Batman who is a detective quite like it is in this movie. And thank you, Matt Reeves, for doing justice. Someone really understands the character of Batman. They actually did something that I've been saying for years, just to let artists do their thing, directors try their thing out, and they finally let someone do that with Batman. The soundtrack to this movie is incredible. Michael Giacchino created an amazing soundtrack. I love the sounds that he created in this film. The gothic, depressing, but it's also epic and grand and dark. Everything that Batman is supposed to be. The way it made me feel when the Batmobile turns on for the first time, I was like, oh, yes! Woo! He actually flies in a real way with those wings, and it's not just like a bat cape. Oh, Matt Reeves, thank you for doing Batman similar to the way that I would have liked to have done it. Did this movie need to be 3 hours long? No, it really didn't. There is about 20 minutes, people looking at each other, shots of the city, people riding on motorcycles, following cars, taking their time, slow burning this momentum throughout the film. It felt underwhelming, especially in the third act of the film. Dwindled a bit in a way, and I don't mean like I needed a giant, massive set piece to have at the end of the film for me to enjoy this film. But this isn't giving anything away, but at one point, Batman falls to the water, and it takes him like 30 seconds. Like, it's a slow motion of him falling and landing in the water and coming up out of the water and slowly beginning to walk through the water. I was like, come on, like, let's go. Because at that point, we're like 2 hours and 40 minutes in, and I felt the last 20 minutes of this film really did drag. And I never thought I'd say this, but I almost wanted just a little bit more Bruce Wayne and a little less Batman, which is crazy. This, I felt at times, I was disconnected with Bruce Wayne. I couldn't understand him. I had a hard time relating to him, and maybe that was the intent that the director and the writers were trying to do, but we need a little bit of Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne. We need a little bit of him talking to other people, being engaged in the boardroom. So Robert Pattinson may not have been the best Bruce Wayne, but I definitely think he is the best interpretation of the Batman. So overall, this movie is incredible. I loved it. I can't wait to go see it again in theaters. So to me, I think this is a big success. My most anticipated film of 2022 ended up being not a disappointment. Yes! So I'm gonna go ahead and give Matt Reeves, the Batman, an A. What did you guys think of The Batman? Was this the film you wanted it to be and you were hoping it to be and it's original? Or were you super let down and it was too dark, too depressing, too emo? Is Robert Pattinson your favorite Batman? Is it Michael Keaton? Is it Christian Bale? Is it George Clooney? Nipples! My playlist for my 2022 films so far, also Uncharted and Scream. Thank you so much for joining me on Mr. Teach Film Preach. I hope you guys had a great time. I know I did. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.